is Strategy Director at Gambling with Lives. That's a charity set up by families bereaved by gambling-related suicide. Thank you very much, Will, for taking the time to talk to us today. And this is the largest amount ever paid in an enforcement action by the Gambling Commission. Do you think it's going to make the gambling industry sit up and take notice?
No, I don't, in brief. As your business correspondent said, this is the second time that Entain has been fined. It was only 3 years ago they were fined almost £6 million for very similar failings. And I'm worried that they and other operators in this industry see these fines as simply a cost of doing business. What we have to remember is that 90% of profits come from 5% of customers for this sector if you take out the national lottery. So effectively, you've got almost the entire profitability of the sector based on a very small percentage of customers who are either addicted or at risk. So the entire business model is based on addiction. That is their business, and they will not be able to unhook themselves from that until the government forces them to do so. So fines like this, £17 million is a lot of money to you or I, but to Entain, I think it's only about 3% of their global turnover or their global profits even. And so for them, it's a simple cost of doing business, and they will continue to act in this way, I'm afraid to say, until their license is removed or until the government enacts proper legislation to properly regulate an industry which is out of control.
OK, so you're clearly concerned that this is not going to make a difference. Explain for us, as we look in this in a bit more detail at this, how it got to this stage, why it got so bad that a massive fine has had to be imposed. What's wrong with the structures that are supposed to stop this from happening?
Well, I'm afraid we're actually relying on self-regulation at the moment. So the Gambling Commission, I have to say, I applaud the Gambling Commission for taking the action that they have announced today, although I don't think it goes far enough. I know that they want more powers and they want more funding to be able to do better investigations and to take stronger action in the future. So I support them in that. But it's got this far because we have a regulator which is underfunded. We've got a regulator with a turnover of about £20 million a year trying to regulate a £15 billion industry. It's a real David and Goliath battle. And we've got an industry which has managed to develop its products. Some of the products that this industry relies on for its profit have got 50% addiction or at-risk rates. So they are more addictive than heroin, right? And they're pushing these products as safe to people across the country. And they're making enormous profits as a result. They've managed to lobby their way into government to stop the government from taking strong action. And we now find ourselves in a public health crisis where we've got 1.4 million people who are addicted or at risk, and all of their family members and friends who are impacted by that. And we have over a death a day from suicide caused by gambling. So to say this is a public health crisis is an understatement, and we desperately need strong action from the government, which we thought they were going to take before parliamentary recess. And we now need to put as much pressure as possible on Liz Truss or indeed Rishi Sunak to take action when they come into office in September.
And in summary, what exactly is that action that you want?
Well, I think the action taken against Entain today shows very clearly that we need operators to be forced to enact affordability checks on their customers before they extract money from them that they can't afford to lose. We need limits on advertising. Gambling shouldn't be something which is stimulated in the market. You shouldn't be allowed to advertise in this country, but sadly we're all inundated with advertising. We need action on the most addictive products which are on the market, which simply shouldn't be able to be sold in this country. We need independent funding for research, education and treatment through a statutory levy. I think it's really clear, to use the words of the ex-gambling minister, Chris Philp. He was doing a very good job. He resigned just before Boris Johnson did. And in his resignation letter, he referenced the fact that he had met bereaved families. And he said that the gambling white paper should be published in full and undiluted. And he was referencing dilution, which is being pushed by the gambling lobby. It's absolutely critical that Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak publish that white paper in full and undiluted as an absolute priority so we can start to get a grip of this public health crisis in the UK.
Will, thank you very much. Will Prochaska there from Gambling with Lives, a charity set up by families bereaved